Hey everyone, how's it going? This one is going to be tricky. Going by statistics, out of 151 Pokemon, Zubat is the 6th worst. If that wasn't bad enough, its statistics are pretty evenly distributed, so it's not really super powerful in anything. Its move pool is just as bad as its statistics. Zubat gets a total of 9 damaging moves, 3 of which are above base 80 power. One of them is Razor Wind, which is a 2-turn attack. And despite the fact it is a poison flying Pokemon, the only move that can utilize the 1.5 times same type bonus is Wing Attack, a base 35 power attack. So suffice to say, this is going to be brutally difficult, hence the Castlevania naming. If you go back to my oldest video, you'll actually notice it is a Castlevania video. So difficult that some people will call games Castlevania difficult to kind of set a standard. This run will probably be Castlevania difficult. It's going to be awful. With that said, I'm not even going to attempt Brock until I hit level 10 and I get Supersonic. Basically a 50-50 chance it hits, and it will confuse the opponent. But will I actually be able to defeat Brock at level 10? No. I mean, theoretically, sure, if I hit every Supersonic and it always hit itself in confusion. I mean, of course I could win, but is that a realistic outcome? No. No, it is not, and in fact, I couldn't even make it past the Geodude. Actually, in fact, I just tried to battle the junior trainer in Brock's gym, and while unlike Brock, I actually could defeat a Pokemon, go Zubat, I was not able to defeat the Sandshrew, and not able to defeat the junior trainer for a few more levels. And yes, we're going to have to level up a whole bunch, but possibly not as much as you think. Because at level 15, Zubat gets Bite, and the combination of Bite plus Supersonic was enough to defeat Brock, if you can believe it. This wasn't a first try victory, of course it wasn't, but it was a third try after I came very, very close my second. Basically, the strategy is simple. Use Supersonic, and then before Geodude uses a bunch of defense curls, try to use Bite to lower its HP. After that point, you try to use Leech Life to gain back some of your HP, while hopefully the Geodude hits itself in confusion enough times. Thankfully, I got some pretty decent luck, both with some misses and some crits, and I was able to make it to the Onix with 25 HP. We repeat the same thing versus Onix, however, we get lucky that Onix knows Bide, and because of that, it's more likely to hit itself in confusion and also not damage us, which is great. Because with that, even though we started with 25 HP, we actually end the battle with 26. Obviously not counting the level up where we go up to 29, but that's pretty incredible. And it is a bit of a good sign. We've been stuck on Brock way, way longer. However, with Zubat's terrible stats, I do feel the later game will probably be a little bit more difficult than the early game, where Zubat isn't that much weaker than a lot of other Pokemon we could be using. But we can fast forward to Cerulean City. I want to battle Misty first because I'm just kind of curious how it goes. I don't think I'm going to win. I don't even heal because I'm just kind of curious how much damage I'm going to do at this level. Bite actually does pretty decent damage, and even after Misty uses the next defend, it's still a 4-hit KO to knock out Staryu, which isn't bad. Now, Leech Life is super effective against Starmie since it's Psychic type and it's a Bug type, but yeah, we have no HP and even Tackle nearly knocked me out. Clearly this was not the right play. I was just curious. But in case you're under the mistaken assumption Rival 2 would be easier, we get Gust, a Gen 1 miss for me, a critical hit for Pidgeotto, and a 3-hit KO. I knocked out what, 20% of its HP? Yeah, this is gonna be great. I try again because why not? I go for Supersonic and Pidgeotto hits itself in confusion. Clearly it was going to go for Quick Attack, but it hits itself in confusion again, and Bite's doing okay damage now. Snaps out of confusion, I use Bite, and it doesn't go for Quick Attack, so I outspeed and knock it out. Not bad. But it's going to get even better because we can use Leech Life. Not only is it going to be super effective against Abra, but it's going to restore all my HP. And that's amazing, really. I go for Bite, it's doing about half, Hyper Fang misses. It has a 15% chance that it does. And I knock out Rattata. Finally, out comes Squirtle. Bite's doing about a quarter. It's not doing anything. That was a crit. Tail Whip, I don't really care. Water Gun, not doing all that much. And we're at basically 75% HP. After that first attempt, that went way better than it had any right to go. And I don't even think we got that lucky. Although, yes, hitting itself in confusion twice, pretty good. But we're a Zubat. What are you going to do? Now, normally I skip over routes 24 and 25, but there is a hiker that's mandatory, either one with Geodude or the one with just one Onix. By this point, though, I should mention we have Confuse Ray. And while it takes a very long time to knock out the Onix, it isn't actually that bad. If you remember my moveset, we will eventually have a way to deal with rock Pokemon that will be way better. But for now, we just kind of have to rely on confusion damage. At least we're not using Supersonic anymore, so that was pretty huge that we have Confuse Ray for this battle. Once we've gotten the SS ticket, we've gained a bunch of levels and we can battle Misty again. Hopefully it goes better. Unfortunately, even though we're 4 levels higher, Staryu is still outspeeding. Bite's doing about a third, then it gets a crit with Water Gun. We are going to knock it out, but we're already below half HP, heading to Starmie. It goes for Water Gun, no crit, pretty much knocks me out. My only hope now is Confuse Ray. Misty uses X Defend, Bleach Life's doing 6 damage because I gained 3 HP back. I do try to use Leech Life, hopefully getting a crit to slowly restore my HP, but it doesn't work. Eventually Misty's gonna hit, I'm not gonna get to 21 HP again, so it knocks me out. And we're gonna have to try something else. Thankfully, Misty is one of the gym leaders that can be postponed. You don't actually need to beat her in order to go to the SSN, and once we do that, we should have more levels, and maybe things will be better. I mean, we should at least outspeed the Staryu, and that would be huge. However, since we're going to the SSN, we're going to have to battle Rival 3. Rival 2 went okay, how will Rival 3 go? Just like last time I outspeed, I go for Bite this time. Gust is doing 14. Unfortunately, after the second bite, it goes for Sand Attack. I am able to knock out Pidgeotto. Raticate, I'm outspeeding, but unfortunately, Bite is not doing half. And so, after I hit with my second bite, I have to go for a Leech Life, and I'm only at 21 HP. And this is where the battle is radically different from the last time. Kadabra outspeeds and goes for Confusion. Last time, obviously, Abra couldn't attack, and was an easy way to gain back HP. This time, Kadabra is a real threat. Interestingly enough, the bigger problem did tend to be Pidgeotto using Sand Attack, because missing attacks just is miserable. I try to use Confuse Ray, and still I'm hit by Sand Attack. This causes me to miss Bite twice against Raticate, and then I do get a teleport from Kadabra, and I miss with Bite, and I'm knocked out. Bite would have been a 2 KO anyway. So I essentially need a 25% chance that on both turns, Kadabra uses Teleport, and I can't afford an accuracy drop. One of the easiest ways to ensure that doesn't happen is to level up a little bit more. By doing this, I'm still unfortunately not able to avoid a Sand Attack from the Pidgeotto, but I am going to do something kind of cool. First, we have to get through the Raticate again, and I'm on very low HP, but we are able to outspeed Kadabra. This means we only need 1 teleport, and I can even use Leech Life to gain back the rest of my HP. Maybe I could have used 2 Leech Lives, but it didn't end up mattering. Against Wartortle, unfortunately, I do end up getting a miss, and it looks like I'm about to lose, especially after that retroactive potion, but I get a crit with Bite, and I'm able to defeat Rival 3. This took many attempts, just because Pidgeotto's Sand Attack is so darn annoying, and it actually run out of Bite sometimes. It was bad. Healing in the Pokemon Center would have helped. However, what some of you may not know is that when you get the bike voucher, you actually can dig from that house, and it'll warp you back to the last center you went to, which in my case is Cerulean, skipping the walking back to Cerulean part, which saves a little bit of time. But at this point, we have to battle Misty. We can't even battle Assistant Gift Shop Manager Surge because we can't use Cut outside of battle until we defeat Misty. So, the question is, have I leveled up enough to make the Misty fight doable? The fight starts off great. I use Bite, does over half, Tackle misses, so full HP to Starmie. Unfortunately, Starmie still outspeeds, goes for X Defend, I go for Confuse Ray. Starmie gets a critical hit Water Gun, Bite is doing next to nothing after that X Defend, Goes for another water gun, Bite's still doing nothing, and there we go. Bubble Beam, crit didn't matter. Wow, this is going to be bad. Now, I could have just gotten unlucky there with the X defend, so I opt to battle Misty again, and it arguably goes even worse. I try to use Confuse Ray so that Staryu wouldn't do any damage. It didn't work, but 62 HP is good enough. This time Starmie isn't messing around and goes straight for Bubble Beam. Although it doesn't crit, it's going to be what looks like to be a 2-hit KO. Doesn't hit itself in confusion, and thankfully it's a 3-hit KO, but it didn't matter. It seems like I have no chance if I don't outspeed. There is still one trainer in this gym I didn't battle yet, so I'm going to go and defeat them, and I guess I'll try Misty one more time, or else I'm going to need to head back to Vermilion and fight some trainers there to gain more experience. What else can we do? I have 5 less HP to start, but this time Staryu cooperates, doesn't attack me. Still a 2-hit KO, and this time we level up. Hopefully we outspeed Starmie, and we don't. Water Gun, we go for Confuse Ray. This time it hits itself in confusion, makes up for that critical hit. Bite's doing decent damage. It's confused no more. There's... Oh! Gen 1 miss, I see. Not bad. This time, however, Bubble Beam hits. My speed is lowered. I hit it with Confuse Ray once again. Misty goes for X Defend, and... Whoa! Okay, well, that was pretty lucky. Now, normally I would reset because a Gen 1 miss is a 1 in 256 chance. However, you might be shocked to know that I have spent more time in real time on this run than I spent on the entire Hypno run, which both speaks to how good Hypno was and how terrible Zubat is. It's about 40 minutes in real time since I speed the game up 4 times. Hypno couldn't seem to lose a major battle, and Zubat has not had a single battle be a first try victory yet. And like I said earlier, as the game goes on, it's actually going to get worse and worse. Oh, you don't believe me? Usually at this point we skip straight to Celadon, and sometimes I talk about the hiker with the exploding Geodudes. No, in this run I got walled by this Pokemaniac. Why? Because Cubone likes to use Growl, and Slowpoke uses Confusion, and I had so much trouble getting past it. It legitimately took 6 attempts just to get by this trainer. And if that didn't get you worried about the hiker, there is another Slowpoke Pokemaniac that took me another 7 attempts to get past. The only way to do so is relying on a combination of Clutch hitting itself in confusion, or the off chance that Bite actually flinches. In modern Pokemon, it's a 30% chance, but in Generation 1 only, it's just a 10% chance. Which, in other words, is the same chance an ice move freezes a Pokemon. That's how unlikely it is. And now we finally made it to the only trainer we ever talk about on the way to Celadon, the hiker. Obviously, we're going to go for the exact same strategy that we've been using this whole time. A combination of trying to get flinches with Bite and hitting itself in confusion. Thankfully, the first Geodude cooperates and doesn't use self-destruct. And we do use Leech Life a little bit because eventually it starts doing just about the same as Bite. So what does it matter? Of course, at any point, the Geodude can just use self-destruct and the run is over. And there's no quick way of ensuring it doesn't do that. So it's just a lottery at the end of the day. And I battled this trainer again and again and again, and I think one more again. I think I battled them 6 times before I did something that I hate to do, but sometimes is totally necessary, which is give up for a little bit. We're just not doing enough damage. There's just way too many opportunities for the Geodude or the Graveler to use self-destruct, and it's a one-shot. Sometimes the Pokemon can survive a self-destruct from the Graveler at full HP, and that makes it pretty chill, because if we can get past the first 2 Geodudes at full health, there is a pretty good pathway to victory, but that's just not the case here. I know that self-destruct from the Graveler was a crit, so to prove that I'm telling the truth here, here's the Geodude using self-destruct at full HP, and you can see I barely survive. So of course the Graveler with much higher attack is going to knock me out. This means all I can really do is level up. There are no new moves Zubat can learn that will really help, meaning normal move 60 base power Bite is the best Zubat is going to have to deal with these Pokemon, so I'm going to need to be at a higher level. There's just nothing else I can really do. I battled pretty much every trainer I didn't beat already, including the ones on Route 11 near Vermilion City, and all the trainers in Surge's gym, but not Surge himself. Can't risk losing and him getting a promotion. And after gaining all those levels on my very first attempt, I am going to be able to beat the hiker. Now, this takes a very long time, so let me just tell you as the battle zooms by what's going on. Confuse Ray and Bite help. I actually get a Gen 1 miss if you could see that. But the biggest factor in terms of me winning was twofold. Number one, there was a 1 in 4 chance that on any turn they use self-destruct. Despite the fact this battle was like 20 or so turns, they didn't use it a single time. That's pretty unlikely. The other key thing was that they never hit with Rock Throw until the Graveler did right at the end of the battle. In Generation 1, for whatever reason, Rock Throw is 60% accurate. I can't even fathom why Rock Throw is so inaccurate in this generation, but it did miss every single time until the Graveler. If it hit, it's super effective, it would do a ton of damage. So I got unbelievably lucky to win. But that was what we would have to hope for, and I would have to go for as many attempts, because unless I want to battle wild Pokemon, we're not going to really be doing that much more damage. And at some point, we do need to make our way to Celadon City. Now, in almost every attempt, I go to the Rocket Game Corner first, but not here. I'm going to go battle Erica for a bunch of reasons. One of the most important is that this is one of the few gyms Zubat has a really good matchup, and I think she should be easy. She sends out Victory Bell, I outspeed, get a crit with Wing Attack, does not one-shot, that's bad. Wrap misses and we knock out Victory Bell. Wing Attack's doing just under half the Tangela, but it goes for Constrict, I don't get a speed drop, and I knock it out. And that should be the battle. I go for Wing Attacks, doing about a third. Petal Dance is double resisted. And so, yeah, as I predicted, Erica would be very easy. But more importantly, Erica gives us Mega Drain. One of the few decent moves, and I'm really stretching the definition of decent. It's 40 base power, but it will help us immensely with rock and ground Pokemon, which our good pal Giovanni likes to use. See that transition? Very cool. Anyway, even at 40 base power with the Zubat, it does one-shot Onix, and I'm back at full HP, which is why I didn't bother to heal. It also one-shots Rhyhorn, unsurprisingly. Against Kangaskhan, however, I go for Double Edge, which is 100 base power. It does like a third, and wow, Kangaskhan does a lot of damage to me. I go for Double Edge again, and it goes for Comet Punch, which knocks me out. Guys, we lost to Giovanni number 1. Wow. Obviously, I'm going to battle him right again, and we know that the first 2 Pokemon are not going to be a problem. I could use Confuse Ray, go for Double Edge. Bite, again, does a lot of damage. Another Double Edge, this time I get Rage, and I am able to knock out Kangaskhan in 3 hits, but yeah. This is going to be a problem. Double Edge is legitimately the best move Zubat can use most of the time. It deals recoil, it's not same type, and my attack is utter garbage. I hope you guys cleared your schedule because this is going to be a long, long run. Now, normally at this point we go battle Rival 4, but I can't fly to Lavender because that requires Assistant Manager Surge's gym badge, which we don't have yet, but hopefully we'll get pretty soon. In fairness to him, we're 17 levels higher than Voltorb and unsurprisingly one-shot with Double Edge. We also will outspeed and one-shot Pikachu. And will we one-shot Raichu? We're close. If it went for Thunderbolt, Surge might have won. However, that would have been a manager play, and Surge at this point is a lowly cashier. So we defeat Cashier Surge with a Zubat on our first attempt. Albeit with like 20 levels higher, but you know, who's counting? Well, I guess Surge will be, because as a cashier, his job will be to count all the bills and make sure he gives out correct change. So, he should know exactly our level difference. Anyway, we're gonna go battle Rival 4 now. Once again, leads with Pidgeotto. Once again, we don't want to see Sand Attack. We almost one-shot, and there we go. Sand Attack, hooray! We do knock it out with Wing Attack, though. We, of course, miss with Double Edge. Of course, Ember crits, and we do knock it out, but we're almost at half HP. That's not good. Now, I'd rather save on Recoil. I am gonna go for Wing Attack against Execute, and we do knock it out. That's 3 down. Now, I really need not to miss here. We hit. Thank goodness. That's going to one-shot. 4 down. I'm going to go for Mega Drain. I miss. Bubble crits, of course. Now Mega Drain's doing about half. Bite doesn't do that much. I miss again. War Turtle still not doing much. And yay, we hit and crit. Rival 4, a first try victory. Back-to-back first try victories. Let's go! But in seriousness, the chance we get a first try victory our next two battles is pretty slim. We have a choice between Rival Fivel and Koga. Well, since Koga is the poison type gym leader, I figure I should go and battle him first, right? I'm a poison Pokemon. But then you gotta remember that Koga's gym is littered with jugglers. Jugglers with psychic Pokemon. Jugglers with Drowsy who are not one-shot by Double Edge, and thus can eventually use moves like Confusion, and even have Kadabras which can outspeed and knock me out. Well, if you thought Rival Fivel was going to be easier, after missing with Sand Attack, we do like a quarter with Double Edge, and I'm just going to speed this part up a little bit because we end up making it past Pidgeot with all of 9 HP, meaning we can't use Double Edge on Growlithe, meaning it has an opportunity to attack me, meaning I lose. Now, as we talked about right at the beginning, my options here are limited. There really aren't any moves I can teach Zubat to make this easier. Yes, I have rare candies, but it's time to level up. Silph Company has tons of trainers. They're fairly easy. They give decent number of experience points, and after you beat Giovanni number 2, they all disappear. So with a Pokemon this bad, we're going to do what I used to do when I played this game as a kid and try to defeat every single trainer that we can in Silph Company. And then if that's not good enough, we can use our rare candies to probably get by at least one of Koga or Rival Fivel. After all that, prior to using any rare candies, I'm at level 43. I battle the first juggler again, and we do one-shot Drowsy, but as we're going to see, that's just because I got a critical hit. Thankfully, no psychic move, but we do outspeed Kadabra. So that's pretty big, and after we level up, we come very close to knocking out the second Drowsy. So we're very close to one-shotting these Drowsy, and we did make it past the first juggler. And in fact, even though we were at basically half HP, with a little bit of luck, I'm also eventually able to defeat the second juggler, and this is key because after we defeat Koga, I already have Surf. We can skip Rival Fivel if need be, and go to Cinnabar, and that opens up a lot of the game. However, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We actually have to defeat Koga, which will be pretty difficult. Double Edge does about half to Coughing number 1. It goes for an X attack. I don't know if this will two-shot. It does, so that's pretty good. However, recoil damage is starting to add up, but 1 down. Against Muck, it does about a quarter. Muck goes for Minimize. This worries me, so I go for Confuse Ray. Thankfully, I hit, and it hits itself in Confusion. I decide to save on recoil damage going for Wing Attack. It goes for an X attack. Unfortunately, I miss Wing Attack, but it goes for another X attack. At this point, I get concerned. Double Edge should knock it out. It just survives, but thankfully, Muck goes for Disable. Unfortunately, disables Double Edge. I went for Wing Attack here, and on the very first turn, the Disable wears off, and we're able to knock out Muck with pretty decent HP, 2 down. I decide to use Confuse Ray strats against Coughing number 2, and it hits itself in Confusion. I then go for Mega Drain. I'm trying to gain as much HP possible for Wheezing, and it hits itself in Confusion again. I get a little greedy going for Mega Drain again. It hits itself in Confusion again. I decide not to test my luck. I go for Double Edge, and at the very least, I didn't lose any HP to Coughing number 2, and now we have 77 HP for Wheezing. I meant to go for Confuse Ray. I go for Wing Attack, which does like nothing. Coughing uses X attack. I do hit with Confuse Ray. It goes for another X attack, meaning I basically got a swagger off. It's going to do a lot of damage to itself. I go for Double Edge, and it hits itself in Confusion. That's pretty good. I go for Double Edge again, and if it doesn't use Self-Destruct, we would have won. That's the fear. That's what I was worried about. Nothing we can do. All right, so let's try this again. Against Coughing number 1, I'm going to do the same thing as last time. Go for Double Edge. It goes for X attack. This time, we do not two-shot, but it goes for another X attack, and we knock it out. We're going to use Confuse Ray against Muck. It's going to go for Disable. Thankfully, it disables Confuse Ray. I go for Double Edge, and it hits itself in Confusion. I go for Double Edge again, and there's an X attack, and we can knock out the Muck. I'm not going to mess around this time with Coughing number 2. I go for Double Edge. It goes for X attack. I go for Double Edge again, and just like the last time, another X attack. So we're at 57 HP, but Self-Destruct's going to knock us out anyway, so we pretty much just need to hope for no Self-Destruct. This time I don't misclick, go for Confuse Ray, and again Self-Destruct. Now I know it seems like we were close, but I actually lost to Koga 7 more times, and that was after I leveled up quite a bit more, which you can see. And the strategy I'm going to use is identical, but unfortunately it's not going to make too much of a difference because it still takes forever to knock out Weezing. I'm gonna be honest, I probably should have just used my rare candies, but I was so close that first time I figured might as well just go for it. I should win, but nope, self-destruct, and it makes sense. It's a 1 in 4 chance, even with the Confuse Ray, just always would seem at the very last second. Funny enough, in this battle, as you may have saw, I got hit with a smoke screen, yet I don't miss a single time. I get multiple critical hits, and they did definitely help me beat Koga. So I think that's a 10th try victory. Really, really unfortunate. We were so close that first time. But with those additional levels, it will at least make Rival Fivel easier. I'm not worried about over-leveling my Zubat, because I have a feeling the Elite Four are going to be impossible anyway. So if I have to level up here, might as well, right? Like, who cares? With that said, we've gained a bunch of levels. Certainly now Rival Fivel will be a lot easier, right? Well, Double Edge isn't doing half. I get hit with a sand attack, start missing attacks, and decide, okay, well, I need to two-shot this thing at the very least. So I guess we need to level up just a little bit more. There are still more trainers in Sylph Company that I've left to this point. Alright, so I battled almost every optional trainer remaining. I'm at level 50. Still have rare candies. What are we going to do now? Well, it starts off horribly with a quick attack crit. I also get a crit, which doesn't one-shot, meaning it would be a 2 KO. Critical hits don't account for the badge boost I'm supposed to get. But regardless, one Pokemon down and we're below half HP. We use Double Edge on Growlithe, we don't one-shot, and it uses Ember, so we're at 29 HP for the final 3 Pokemon. We use Wing Attack, but because it's only 35 base power, it does not one-shot execute. Hypnosis misses, and we're still at 29 HP, but there are 2 Pokemon remaining. The reason I haven't reset is I want to know, do we outspeed Alakazam? Yes, and we do one-shot. Okay, that's good. I'm actually surprised I survived, but theoretically we could win here. Alright, well, I'm going to go for Mega Drain. It goes for Bite, and hey, the Mega Drain made the difference. I go for Mega Drain again. I get a crit, and so Bite doesn't knock me out. Oh my! With just 7 HP, we were able to knock out the Blastoise. And this is the first time I'm really smiling during this run. This run has been extremely difficult. Expectedly so, but still completely brutal. But thankfully, no matter how difficult the run is, Giovanni number 2 is always really, really easy. And it's at this point I gotta think about where to go next. Neither gym leader is going to be good. Blaine's at a pretty high level, and we're not going to do much damage. But Sabrina's Psychic type, and if we don't one-shot, we're going to get knocked out by her powerful psychic attacks. This is going to be a really, really tough decision. In the end, I decide to try my luck against Sabrina. Why the heck not? At least we can see if we outspeed in one-shot. So, Kadabra number 1, we outspeed, we one-shot. Crit may have mattered though. We outspeed Mr. Mime, we don't one-shot. Confusion does a lot, but we're still in this. Venomoth is weak to Wing Attack, so I'm going to use it, and it crits with Psybeam. Since we didn't one-shot Mr. Mime, I decided to try my luck at Cinnabar and just leave. Normally, the only trainer I would battle is Blaine, but I'm going to battle the trainers in Blaine's gym. They're fairly easy to defeat, give a ton of experience points, and hopefully that will help me in either defeating Blaine and or Sabrina. I mean, it obviously will help me, being at a higher level is always better. After defeating all of them, I might as well go and battle Blaine. I go for Double Edge against Growlithe, it goes for a Super Potion, and I knock out Growlithe with Double Edge. I go for Double Edge against Ponyta, but unfortunately it goes for Growl, so I am able to knock it out, but that's probably the battle. Because of that Growl, I'm going to have to rely on Confuse Ray strats. Rapidash does not hit itself in Confusion, gets a crit in fact, and while I attempt to get a critical hit Wing Attack in vain, it is eventually able to knock me out with another Stomp. That did seem doable, so I'll go and battle Blaine, who looks like a Martian for some reason, again. I did actually make a mistake last time. Growlithe has agility, and it will always go for it because I'm poison type, so I can just go for Wing Attack, not waste any of my HP and knock it out. Against Ponyta, I go for Double Edge, it goes for Tail Whip, which is arguably better than Growl, so we're able to knock it out with our full attack stat. I go for Double Edge against Rapidash, it's doing half, but a retroactive Super Potion will make it a 3-hit KO at least. I go for Double Edge again, and I guess I was wrong. Critical hit. 2-hit KO, pretty good. Arcanine is a very good Pokemon, so I go for Confuse Ray. It does not hit itself in Confusion. Roar is fine. I go for Double Edge. It's doing about a third. Retroactive Super Potion. Annoying. I go for Double Edge again, but it does not hit itself in confusion, hits with Fire Blast, and we have to try all over again. Hooray! Full disclosure, got a little distracted, so I went for Double Edge. Retroactive Super Potion actually won't matter. We will knock it out in 2 Double Edges, but that took away 40 of my HP, or just about. We use Double Edge, nearly one-shots Ponyta. Growl fails, 1 in 4 chance that happens. We knock it out with Wing Attack. Double Edge does over half to Rapidash. Tail Whip is fine. We knock it out. Once again against Arcanine, we go for Confuse Ray. Once again, it goes for Roar. Once again, we go for Double Edge, but this time it hits itself in confusion. We go for Double Edge again, and look at that, a critical hit. So in the battle where arguably I played the worst, we got the best results. Go figure. Now, longtime viewers of the channel are probably wondering why I didn't use Mimic to mimic Agility from Growlithe, because it would just keep spamming it and then boost my attack a little bit. It would have helped, right? Problem is, I kind of like all the moves I have right now, and I don't know which one I would delete. Wing Attack is the best candidate, but having a move that deals damage and no recoil is pretty important. So if I could get through without having to rely on Mimic, I wanted to, and it only took 3 attempts, so I think that was a good decision. However, we don't have much time to feel good about ourselves. The last remaining mandatory trainer is Sabrina. We saw that it was kinda not super easy the last time, and because I'm still worried, and again, I think the Elite Four is going to be impossible, I decide to battle all the trainers in her gym as well. Maybe I'm playing a little too cautiously, but I really don't think so. With, to this point, the worst Pokemon statistically I've ever used, all the levels I think we can get, we should get. Now that I'm at level 56, I decide to go for Wing Attack, and we do one-shot Kadabra. That's amazing. Mr. Mime will hopefully be a one-shot with Double Edge. It is, but we got a crit. Not sure, but we'll take the result. Unfortunately, in my excitement, I click Double Edge, and we don't one-shot. Venomoth goes for Psybeam. We do knock it out. For the record, even at base 35 power, Wing Attack does do slightly more damage than Double Edge, so it was the better move there. Alakazam outspeeds. That's not good. It goes for Psywave, but because we use Double Edge against Venomoth, we don't have enough HP. It did survive anyway, but this is not looking good. I battle Sabrina again. I make a mistake and go for Double Edge against Kadabra. Not the biggest deal. It does get knocked out. As it turns out, Mr. Mime is not a one-shot without a critical hit, and it uses a Hyper Potion, which is terrible. We go for Double Edge, and I stand corrected. It's a range without a critical hit. That's beautiful. This time I go for Wing Attack, and we get a crit. Don't know if that mattered, but it all comes down to Alakazam. It goes for Reflect, which arguably is kinda good. Unfortunately, we're only doing about a third. It goes for Psywave, which also is pretty good, but it deals decent damage. We will knock it out if it doesn't go for a Psychic damaging move. And it goes for Reflect. That was some pretty insane luck, and I think you know what's coming. I don't know why people get so frustrated when I reset when crazy good luck happens. The point of these videos is to be kind of like a guide, if you were ever to do this yourself, what a typical run would look like. And when we get luck like that, it's just kind of silly. I mean, when we lose and get bad luck, it doesn't really alter the game state. We can just try again. But if we win, we can't rebattle Sabrina and show off what should have happened in a typical run. And here is what you should do. There's tons of trainers located around Cinnabar Island. We can battle those trainers. I've battled them before when the Elite Four have been too difficult. I would say about 20% of my runs I end up battling all these swimmers, beauties, etc. And if you do that, well, you can one-shot Kadabra with Wing Attack. You can one-shot Mr. Mime with Double Edge. Out of curiosity, you can one-shot Venomoth that was a critical hit, but with Double Edge. Don't worry about me losing HP because we outspeed and one-shot Alakazam. This is a much better way to beat Sabrina that doesn't rely on crazy luck. And if I weren't so worried about Zubat in the late game, I probably would just use my rare candies, but again, I am extremely concerned. And have a pretty good feeling I'm going to need to battle all these trainers anyway. Might as well use my rare candies as late as I possibly can, because we might need to go all the way up to level 100. I don't know. On the other hand, since we are at such a high level and Giovanni's trainers are kind of difficult, I'm going to skip them. While I initially speculated I would delete Wing Attack, it makes sense to delete Confuse Ray for a reason I'll talk about a little bit later. But in this battle, we can mimic Dig. And truth be told, even without it, this battle is going to be a complete joke. Giovanni's Pokemon have horrible movesets. We have Mega Drain for the rock Pokemon as well as Dugtrio, which can't really do much to us. And while Dig does not one-shot Nidoqueen, it does in fact one-shot Nidoking. And Mega Drain, oh, it doesn't one-shot Rhydon, but it comes close. And with that, we have defeated the entirety of the Kanto Gym Leader Challenge. With that said, like I always say, and especially in this case, the last trainers are by far the toughest. But like always, there's only one way to find out how tough they're actually going to be. Let's go battle Rival 6. Now, since I have Mimic, I'm going to Mimic Agility, and because I'm Poison type, Pidgeot will only use Agility. So, in case you're wondering why the heck is all this happening, Pidgeot uses Agility because I'm a Poison Pokemon, Agility is a Psychic move, and the AI thinks it's super effective because Generation 1. I'm using Agility because of Generation 1. It'll be in the description, but essentially, every time I modify my stats, all my stats are boosted by an additional 12.5%. So I'm raising my attack a little bit, which should help. After I set all of them up, I go for Double Edge, I get a crit, which actually ignores all those boosts, and it doesn't knock out the Pidgeot. I could have gone for Mega Drain to restore my HP, but there's no need. I can use Wing Attack because the next Pokemon is a Rhyhorn, and we level up. That sucks. We are going to restore our HP, but those extra boosts I was talking about, those reset when you level up. So we essentially just wasted our time. Fantastic. Growlithe also knows Agility. I go for Double Edge anyway, because why the heck not? Almost one-shots. With those boosts, definitely would have. But we can knock it out without it doing any damage to us. I go for Wing Attack against Execute. It goes for Stun Spore. And then I'm paralyzed. It goes for Leech Seed. And no, I'm not doing this. We're going to try this again. Now, I didn't have many experience points to get to the next level. Just battled a few wild Pokemon. So we're not going to level up now, which is pretty good. And we're going to do the exact same thing as last time where we Mimic Agility, take our sweet time setting up all 3 Agilities, getting our attack to be just a little bit higher. Without a crit, we're not going to nearly one-shot, but it doesn't really matter. We can still knock out Pidgeot in just 2 hits. It's not going to attack anyway. We don't level up this time, as I mentioned, so we can just use Mega Drain against Rhyhorn. So we're at full HP. This time, we're easily going to be able to one-shot Growlithe, so that's 3 down. And in my excitement, I misclick and go for Double Edge. It's only slightly weaker than Wing Attack. Thankfully, Execute goes for Solar Beam. That's pretty useful because we can knock it out. And here's the moment of truth. Obviously, we're going to outspeed, and we also one-shot Alakazam. So we're at half HP for Blastoise. And the Mega Drain strategy was so effective last time, I'm going to use it. It goes for Bite. I'm going to use it again. It goes for Skull Bash, which is a 2-turn attack. And we're going to knock out Blastoise. But do not get too excited because the next time we face this thing, it knows a 90% accurate Blizzard, which will probably one-shot me. But that's a problem for future Gyros. Current Gyros is making his way to the Elite Four, and I usually have some long preamble, not this time. You know I think this is going to be difficult, and let's see if I was right. Now you might notice I'm at a much higher level. I go for Double Edge, and Dugong goes for Aurora Beam. I hope Mega Drain's going to knock it out. It doesn't, but Retroactive Super Potion's pretty good. I can knock out Dugong with Double Edge, but we're at half HP after one Pokemon. Against Cloyster, I go for Mega Drain. It goes for Aurora Beam, and 70 HP is more than enough to make it to Slowbro. And here is where we can hopefully automatically win the battle. Slowbro in Red and Blue only has one Psychic move, Amnesia, and so that is the only move it's going to go for because I'm a Poison type. I can mimic Amnesia and boost my special. Not only will this make Mega Drain far stronger, but it also should protect me against Lapras's attacks. Or Jinx's for that matter. Oh, and in case you're wondering how I got to this high a level, I battled all the trainers in Victory Road, and I used all those rare candies I was hoarding. Now, I could have restored all my HP with Mega Drain, but I opted just to go for Wing Attack because I don't think it's gonna matter. Jinx, even though I have maxed out my special, I still will do more damage with Double Edge, and we do one-shot but with a crit, so I don't know if that mattered. And finally, hopefully with 3 Amnesias, I will one-shot with Mega Drain, and I do. Lapras does not get a chance to attack me. Because my base speed is so low, it's less than a 10% chance I get a critical hit, and so Lorelei hopefully will be fairly consistent at my current level. But if there's ever a trainer who will always be consistent, pretty much no matter who I use, it's our good pal Bruno. Bruno should be absolutely a joke, even with a very weak Zubat. We're going to use Mega Drain against the Onix. It's going to knock it out. I use Wing Attack because it does slightly more damage, and in Generation 1, Counter can only counter normal or fighting moves. So that would have won had I used Double Edge, but I don't. We knock out Hitmonchan. Hitmonlee's defense is a little weaker, but we don't quite one-shot. Goes for High Jump Kick, but it's double resisted by me, so we knock it out. And in case you're worried about that HP, don't you fret. We can just use Mega Drain and gain all of it back. Machamp's only attacking move that can hit me is Submission, also double resisted. I accidentally go for Double Edge, but it's not a big deal. I mean, it goes for Leer, and it does make it a 3-hit KO. If I used Wing Attack, probably would have been a 2-hit KO, but who the heck cares? Bruno, doesn't matter if we use Zubat, level 5 Pokemon. First try victory is just the norm. But the trainer I'm always most worried about, it's not Lorelee, it's not Bruno. Heck, it's not even always the champion, it's Agatha. Because Agatha is so luck-based. We don't have a move to put it to sleep. We don't have a move that easily one-shots our Pokemon. This could be a total nightmare. And yes, pun kind of intended because her Pokemon use Dream Eater, but I really hope I don't see it unless I'm not sleeping. Then she can use Dream Eater as much as she wants. So I'm going to go for Wing Attack, and that does... Oh, crit. Well, it did really good damage, and it puts me to sleep. Alright, well, I think the battle's over. I stay asleep. Confuse Ray. I'm still asleep. Another Confuse Ray. I'm still asleep. Alright, swap into Golbat. That's okay. I'm still asleep. Wing Attack. I'm still asleep. Swap back into Gengar. I'm still asleep. Confuse Ray for a third frickin' time. Finally, I wake up. I can't attack. Nightshade. I don't hit myself in confusion. Wing Attack. And yay, we actually knocked out one of her Pokemon. Don't have a lot of HP remaining, but good enough. Now I am still confused. I hit myself in confusion. At least Golbat goes for Supersonic. This time Double Edge hits. It's doing about half. Golbat goes for Wing Attack, and we have like no HP remaining. I snap out of confusion, but with only 21 HP remaining, this isn't looking good. I use Wing Attack against the Haunter. It's doing over half. Hypnosis misses. All right, we're going to make it to Arbok. That's pretty good. While I'd love to go for Double Edge, I don't have the HP. I accidentally hit Mimic instead of Wing Attack, so I guess I'm going to be using Bite again. And thankfully, Arbok swaps into Gengar. Well, I'm just going to go for Wing Attack, and it swaps back into Arbok. I go for Bite, no flinch, Glare, that's not great. Super Potion, Bite, so we're basically where we just started. Another Super Potion, but we get a crit and knock it out with Bite. Alright, one Pokemon remaining. Gengar goes for Dream Eater, please crit. Alright, one more hit, we win. Come on, no! Oh, that sucks. I mean, that would have been pretty sweet. First try victory against Agatha with a Zubat, that would have been epic, but I can't say I'm too devastated by that loss. Alright, so I'm going to reset, even though I gained some decent levels, because I don't know if we want to use the rare candies right at the beginning, so it makes sense just to try again. This time against Lorelee, something very interesting happens. In this battle, rather than going for Aurora Beam, Dugong goes for Rest. This is a 1 in 2 chance, and if it does, we can have a much easier time by just restoring our HP and knocking it out. Otherwise, the battle against Lorelee is going to go pretty much identically to what you've seen before. There is one massive exception, however. As it turns out, Lapras being one-shot by Mega Drain is a range. And while it does use a Super Potion here, and so it didn't do anything, this can go badly in theory. But with that said, we're just going to speed right through the Bruno battle. It's almost impossible I can lose to Bruno with a Zubat. Wow, that is just a crazy thing to say. I did say I would mention why we deleted Confuse Ray, which could have been useful against Agatha, rather than deleting Wing Attack. And the answer is, what would I hit her Ghost Pokemon with? Wing Attack at least can hit Ghost Pokemon, Double Edge can't, Mega Drain can, but it will do like nothing. So having an attacking move that's same type and hits Ghost Pokemon is integral. I'd much rather it be a 60 base power move like it is in later generations, but at the end of the day, it's what we have. And yes, I could have just maybe mimicked Wing Attack from the Golbat, but it comes out second, so that just doesn't really work for me. And relying on Confuse Ray to deal damage to the first Gengar, even more luck-based than what we're doing. With that said, here comes the first Gengar, and let's start attempt number 2. This time I'm going to do something you've seen before. I'm going to mimic Hypnosis, and it goes for Nightshade. This is fine. 60% chance I do hit Hypnosis, and now it's asleep. Now I use Wing Attack, it stays asleep, and we're going to knock out this Gengar, because even if it wakes up after the second Wing Attack, which it doesn't, it can't attack anyway, so that is 1 down. Now we know Double Edge does half to Golbat, or everything if we get a critical hit, 2 down. Now since Hypnosis is just a 60% chance and Haunter's a 2-hit KO, I'm going to go for Wing Attack. Unfortunately, I get confused. And I hit myself in Confusion. Thankfully, it goes for Confuse Ray again. I hit myself in Confusion again, but thankfully it swaps into Arbok. But we can't use Double Edge again because I have no HP. I meant to go for Hypnosis, go for Wing Attack. It does decent damage. It goes for Screech. Thankfully, I do put it to sleep and I'm not confused anymore. While I could restore some HP, I doubt I'd get over 60, and that's what I would need to survive a Nightshade from the second Gengar, so I'm just going to try and knock out the Arbok, which I do at 28 HP. I outspeed Haunter, so it can't do anything, so we just have the last Gengar remaining. Please hit. It misses. Yes, Toxic. Please, yes. Alright, it's asleep. Wing Attack, it stays asleep. Alright, I think we win. Wing Attack, Super Potion, I think we win. Wing Attack, yeah, we definitely win. Super Potion, it can't attack me. No, we're good. Wing Attack, yeah, even though it just woke up now, it can't attack me. Second try victory against Agatha. That worked pretty well. I mean, yes, we obviously could see like 50 ways that could go really badly, but being able to outspeed the Gengars is key. I mean, we're at a really high level. We should outspeed. But we've made it to Lance for the first time. And Lance, like some of the trainers we've seen before, is going to be fairly easy. The Gyarados and the Aerodactyl are the only 2 Pokemon capable of attacking me. The rest of them have non-damaging psychic moves that they'll spam. So the trick to beating Lance is getting by Gyarados and having enough HP for Aerodactyl. Way easier said than done, but let's see if we can do it. Alright, not messing around here. I go for Double Edge, it goes for Hyper Beam, and wow, that does a lot of damage, but we survive. Now, I don't want to use Double Edge because that would put Gyarados in range of healing, so instead I'm going to go for Mega Drain, gain a little HP back, it has to recharge, and Double Edge should knock it out. I think we beat Lance. Now, we saw the same strategy versus Rival 6. We're going to mimic Agility and use it 3 times. That will not just increase our speed, but all of our other stats. The only thing that concerns me, because we can use Mega Drain to gain our HP back, is Aerodactyl can critical hit with Hyper Beam. With its 130 base speed, it's a 1 in 4 chance it gets a crit, which is crazy good. Unfortunately, I forget to Mega Drain against the first Dragonair and just do it for the second. Otherwise, we'd be at full HP, but a critical hit wouldn't matter anyway. We just need Aerodactyl to cooperate. Alright, well I go for Mega Drain because it's going to deal neutral damage and it does nothing because we leveled up in the middle of the battle. It goes for Hyper Beam and yeah, we lost. I'm pretty sure we lost. That sucks. You know, it's why you don't want to use all your rare candies. This can happen. Man, that's rough. I mean, I can use Mega Drain to gain some of my HP back in case it goes for Bite or Takedown. But no, it goes for Hyper Beam, and even if I would have restored all my HP versus Dragonair, got a crit for good measure. Actually, thinking about it, I might not have had enough power points if I used the Mega Drains versus Dragonair, so good call me, but yeah, we lose. And losing is something we would be doing a lot. Remember how I said something could go bad if the Lapras attack? Well, here's a freeze. And so, we're gonna need to level up. It doesn't work if we don't. I mean, don't get me wrong, a good percentage of the time we can make it to Agatha, but Agatha is really, really tough to defeat. Especially when you consider even her easy Pokemon like Golbat and Arbok can be really, really problematic. In fact, in the battle you're seeing right now, slowly but surely, her first 3 Pokemon whittle down my HP until I try to use Double Edge against Arbok for the first time, mind you. It goes for Glare, and then knocks me out with Bite. As you'd expect, other than the odd Lorelei defeat, the stumbling block at this point, even though our most disappointing loss came to Lance, Agatha just is very, very difficult. I mean, think about it. 3 Nightshades pretty much knocks out my Pokemon. Hypnosis Dream Eater is super effective, and Confuse Ray can cause me not to attack for many turns. Truth be told, Zubat is a bit of a better matchup against Agatha than something like Oddish, but it's still a pretty awful matchup, all things considered. And while I know leveling up will make things a little easier, I'll have more HP, and Wing Attack will deal more damage, I did want to try to make it back to Lance just one more time at my current level. We know it should be possible, and we are outspeeding at least, so this is at least consistent enough for me to be okay with. Funny enough, in this battle, the first Gengar gets us all the way down to 29 HP, meaning a single attack from any of Agatha's Pokemon would have resulted in a loss. And yet, in an incredible turn of events, not a single one of her Pokemon is able to attack me. We land a bunch of Hypnosises, we get some clutch switches from Agatha, and we were able to defeat her entire team. In fact, I even got cheeky at the end and used Double Edge and won with just 5 HP remaining. So I wanted to try one more at Lance at my current level. We are going to be able to do that. Unfortunately, I forgot to save a rare candy for this battle, which would help versus Aerodactyl. Hyper Beam would do less damage unless it crit, and Mega Drain would deal more, but we're going to see if it might be possible even without the badge boost glitch. Once again, I lead with Double Edge, but this time Gyarados goes for Dragon Rage. Double Edge does not two-shot as I predicted, but this time it goes for Hydro Pump, and I'm at 30 HP. Pretty bad. We're able to knock out Gyarados, but yeah, this isn't looking good. Now, I am going to mimic Agility, but there's no point setting those up here because other than outspeeding Aerodactyl, it won't really result in what I need, the badge boosts. So I'm going to try and restore as much HP as possible, but yeah, I think I lost. By the time I get to the second Dragonair, I'm not gaining enough HP back, so I just set them up so I can deal more with Mega Drain. And I'll outspeed Aerodactyl, which is always good, but yeah, this isn't going to go well. Alright, well Mega Drain does like an 8th, and it goes for Takedown, that's pretty good, and it deals back some recoil damage. Another Mega Drain, this time it goes for Bite, and it's at about half HP, so that's pretty good. A third Mega Drain, and yes, I get a crit! No! Well, I mentioned the Hyper Potion. Well, that was nice while it lasted. I go for Mega Drain, it goes for Hyper Beam, I survive, but I'm almost out of Mega Drains. I use my final one, Aerodactyl's gotta recharge. I go for Wing Attack, and it actually does pretty decent damage, but Bite crits, and I'm knocked out again. This is when I realized I'd accidentally saved after using the rare candies, which is annoying, but it does mean I can level up a little bit more in Victory Road to try and manipulate my experience points so I shouldn't level up in the middle of Lance's battle. And wouldn't you know, my very next attempt I actually make it all the way back to Lance, which is pretty surprising because Agatha is terrible. This third attempt goes exactly like the first one in the beginning. I go for Double Edge, Gyarados goes for Hyper Beam, thankfully no crit. I use a Mega Drain to put it in range of knocking it out, and then I knock it out with Double Edge, but I'm at very low HP again. This time, however, I level up immediately after the Gyarados, meaning my badge boosts will carry through for the rest of this battle. We can then mimic Agility and try to use Mega Drain to gain back some of our HP, but remembering we need enough Mega Drains just in case Aerodactyl heals, and yeah, it's a balancing act. You can see I have used 2 power point ups. I have 14 power points. The third one is in the power plant, which I really would prefer to avoid, but might have to go to get the final rare candy and a power point up. But let's hope it doesn't come to that. Here comes Aerodactyl. I go for Mega Drain. You can clearly see it doing more. It hits with Supersonic, of course. The worst possible outcome. Thankfully, I'm able to get off the Mega Drain, and this is the actual... Oh, not worst possible outcome. It didn't get a crit. That did way less damage. See, I told you. Badge boost. Very good. Don't hit myself in confusion again, but unfortunately, it's not a 3-hit KO, and Aerodactyl might heal. It does need to recharge here. Actually, I outspeed. As long as I don't hit myself in confusion, we'll knock out Aerodactyl, and we won. There is no way Lance can beat me at this point. He can just stall me with Dragonite. It knows Barrier, which is annoying, and Agility, but it cannot attack me. Another weird quirk of Generation 1 is the opponent's Pokemon do not have power points. They will just use them infinitely. While Lance does use Barrier a bunch, eventually I will get a critical hit, and Lance finally will be defeated. After all this, we are making our way to the champion. We have beaten this rival many times, and it hasn't actually been too bad. But the champion battle is where it tends to get super tough, especially when we consider the Blastoise now knows Blizzard, and we can't just use Mega Drain and hope to win like we did the last 2 times. Not much else I can do than just hope for the best. This is the champion. Pidgeot no longer has agility, so I'm just going to go for Double Edge. Unfortunately, it's doing just under half, but it goes for Whirlwind. That's good. I go for Double Edge again, and this time it goes for Mirror Move, meaning it gets Double Edge. It's also a normal type, so that does significant damage. And this isn't looking good. Now, we absolutely need to outspeed and one-shot Alakazam. We outspeed? We don't one-shot? No! All that work. Oh, that sucks. Well, I'd love to keep the levels I've gotten through this attempt. I do have to reset because I use all my elixirs and I can't get more, and I need them. So we're going to have to level up a little bit more. That's awful. Unfortunately, a loss to the champion means we have to beat Agatha again. And while it looked pretty consistent because I haven't shown that many of the losses, I actually lost 6 times before I beat her again. I'm paralyzed, you can't actually tell I'm at a much higher level. Well, relatively much. But I am at level 79. So this should help both against Lance and against the champion. Unfortunately, when trying to gain a bunch of levels, it can be difficult to manipulate experience points. So I don't know when I'll level up against Lance. Hopefully it still works out. We go for Double Edge, and it looks like it's doing over half. It goes for Dragon Rage, that's pretty good, and we should... No! Alright, let's just try that again. Another Double Edge. Ugh, not Hyper Beam. Come on! This is miserable. Now, remember how I said I wanted to avoid going to the power plant? Yeah, it's time to go to that darn power plant, get the power point up, and get the rare candy. Why the heck not? We need it. This has taken about 50 minutes, and almost all of it is just losing over and over and over again to Agatha. So now we're starting Lorelie at level 78, meaning Dugong, even if it gets a critical hit, should have been a 2-hit KO, but now we have to use Mega Drain. Thankfully, we crit against Cloyster, so that will save this run, because losing to Lorelie is quite annoying. We can mimic all our amnesias, and we can even use Mega Drain just to make sure, because if we get a crit against Lapras, it would be a 2-hit KO. That would suck. Double Edge still one-shots Jinx, and Mega Drain, we get the crit. Blizzard doesn't freeze. Man, this game is trying my patience, but that is Lorelie down. We can go battle Bruno. Bruno is going to be the same as he always is, but in case you forgot, because it's been like 5 hours, Mega Drain one-shots. We go for Wing Attack, and it doesn't one-shot. Thankfully, don't get paralyzed. We knock out Hitmonchan. We do one-shot Hitmonlee now. That's pretty good. We level up. Mega Drain, full HP. Machamp can't do much of anything. 2-hit KO with Wing Attack, unless it uses the next defend, in which case it's a 3-hit KO. And we've made it back to Agatha, who we lose to every frickin' time. Man, and this is where we use the elixir because we need all our power points. And please, Agatha, play nice. Alright, so against first Gengar, we mimic Hypnosis as always. It withdraws into Golbat. We put it to sleep. It wakes up, and we put it back to sleep. We use Double Edge once. We use Wing Attack. It's gone. We use Hypnosis. It falls asleep. We use Wing Attack once, twice. Crit. We're gone. We use Wing Attack. It confuses me. We use Wing Attack. It's gone. We hit ourselves in confusion. Screech misses. We hit ourselves again. Screech hits. Now we put it to sleep. It switches into Gengar. We put it Gengar to sleep. We use Wing Attack. Another Wing Attack crits. And we use Double Edge. It crits. Finally, we make it back to Lance. Whew, I've never done rapid fire commentary like that. That was actually really fun. But we're going to slow it down for Lance. We have only beaten him once, and we've lost way more than once. So hopefully this will be another victory. I feel optimistic. That is probably a huge mistake. Let's see. Like always, I go for Double Edge. We get a crit. It goes for Hyper Beam, so this is pretty standard for what we've gotten most battles. I can just use Mega Drain to gain a little back and knock it out, 1 down. Now, because I don't know what my experience points are at, I check my stats, and we're going to level up after this Dragonair, which is pretty good. We can set up that means during the second Dragonair. We can mimic Agility now, use a couple Mega Drains to gain a little bit of HP back, and then use Wing Attack to knock out Dragonair number 1, and there's the level up. Now we can set up all 3 of our agilities. I want to have at least 7 Mega Drains for Aerodactyl. I think that would work well. After all is said and done, we have 161 out of 211 HP, so we're only down 50. Hopefully this works. I use Mega Drain. I'm almost at full HP now, and it misses with Takedown. That's really good. I use Mega Drain again. I get a crit, and we're going to win. Nice. Oh gosh, okay. I mean, this could be it, guys. I should be at a high enough level that we should one-shot Alakazam, and we could theoretically mimic Hypnosis on Executor to avoid Blizzard. And that should work, but it's a little luckier than I'd like. I don't know. I mean, there's not much else to say. We know what has to happen. We know that it's not guaranteed, and let's see if I can clutch it out. Once again, right away I go for Double Edge. Once again, Pidgeot goes for Mirror Move, this time right away. So I'm at under half HP, but we do knock out Pidgeot. And can we get past this Alakazam, please? Yes. By no means is victory guaranteed, but that is huge. Now, Rhydon will help out immensely because we should one-shot with Mega Drain. Goodness, they're surviving on 1 HP. Tail Whip, it's a mixed bag. It's going to raise our stats a little bit, but our defense being lowered isn't actually great. Whatever. We're going to knock out Rhydon. 160 HP for the final 3 Pokemon. I'm going to go for Double Edge against our Canines, doing just under half. It goes for Takedown. This is why I was worried about the Tail Whip. I do survive, and we will knock out our Canine, but we have next to no HP left for 2 Pokemon. Because my HP is so low, I can't risk mimicking Hypnosis. I just go for Wing Attack. It misses with Hypnosis. It has to go for that until I fall asleep because I'm Poison type. So if I can knock it out here, it would have been good. But I don't. Wasn't a 2-hit KO. Puts me to sleep. Heals. Stomp. And it didn't just stomp my Zubat. It stomped my hopes, my dreams. I have to now rebattle the entire Elite Four. And I can't guarantee that what just happened here won't happen again. There's absolutely nothing I can do to prevent it. Right off the bat, Pidgeot used Mirror Move, and we were behind the 8 ball. In fact, I think I'm just going to lose to Lorelie here. Okay, I survive on 1 HP, so we're going to make it through. Unless we crit. Oh, well, I guess the Amnesias do multiple things. Kind of why it's so cheap in this generation, so we make it past Lorelie. That's kind of exciting. Yay, we get to battle Bruno again. But yeah, I mean, it's just deflating, man. You know, I try my hardest to make these consistent, to make these videos also interesting for you guys, but at some point, losing to Agatha again and again is just frustrating. And I want you to know, just leveling up endlessly isn't fun. At a certain point, like by level 80, it takes a really long time to level up. And it's also not even necessary per se. Agatha is just going to be as lucky at level 100 than she will be at level 80. Maybe some things will be 2-hit KO, so maybe that's not completely true. But there's always going to be luck unless you're one-shotting her Pokemon, which with Wing Attack, we're probably never going to do. And getting to level 100, again, do we really need that level of consistency? Everything is consistent if we go all the way to level 100. Alright, so we're back at Agatha. You know the drill, mimic Hypnosis, thankfully Dream Eater. Miss with Hypnosis, get hit by Confuse Ray, of course. Hit yourself in Confusion, wonder why they couldn't program Agatha not to use Confuse Ray when I'm already confused. Hit yourself in Confusion again, and a Nightshade, please! I'm still confused, but I actually do hit with Hypnosis, and now out comes Golbat, but I have like no HP remaining. That means I'm going to have to put it to sleep, because using Double Edge too much would be very bad. Wing Attack looks to be a 3-hit KO, thankfully it stays asleep. And I will be able to knock out the Golbat. So we at least knocked out 1 Pokemon. We don't always get that far. We get a critical hit, but we get some Super Potions. And I do think that means we should automatically knock out the Gengar. I'm not sure of the exact math here. Doesn't really matter because Gengar doesn't wake up. And that's 2 down. Like always, not worth risking Hypnosis. Just go for Wing Attack, hoping for the crit. We don't get it. Nightshade, that's what I did not want to see. We have 20 HP, so 1 more hit, we're done. We have to put Arbok to sleep. Unfortunately, wakes up right away, but we get another Hypnosis hit, so that's pretty lucky. It withdraws into Gengar, and if we can put this to sleep, we have a really good chance of winning. Oh my goodness, we do. This run just got interesting. One wing attack, it's still asleep, we win. Well, at least we beat the Gengar. I don't know if we win. Super Potion all you want, Agatha. Even use a second one, it's not gonna matter. Gengar also doesn't wake up anyway again. But we've made it to the final Pokemon, Arbok. And with that clutch critical hit, we have just guaranteed ourselves a victory. So we've made it to Lance. We have beaten Lance all of 2 times. And we've lost to the champion both times. The good news is, because we just leveled up, we shouldn't level up in the middle of the Lance battle. And that means we can use Badge Boost Glitch. The bad news is, Lance can get a critical hit and just undermine everything I'm trying to do. And there's not much I can really do about that. So, fun times all around. I think this is battle 5 or 6. I can't even remember. Who cares? Let's make it the last time. I go for Double Edge. It looks to be doing over half. Hydro Pump, wish that would have missed. But I actually have more HP than I normally do. That's pretty good. Alright, you guys know the drill here. We mimic agility, use it a bunch of times, and then use as many Mega Drains until we have 7 remaining to both knock out the Dragonair and gain back as much HP as we possibly can. This time around, we have the most I think we've ever had, 183 HP at level 81. So, if there was ever a time to beat Aerodactyl, it's now. I go for Mega Drain, get a crit, so it doesn't do that much more than no crit. Hyper Beam thankfully does not crit. I get another crit, but unfortunately that put Lance in healing range and he uses a Hyper Potion, so we have to start all over again. This time I don't get a crit, but like I said, similar damage. I'm at full HP and Lance still has to recharge. Alright, one more. Hyper Beam. No crit. Alright, guys. After we make it past Dragonite, we will eventually make it to the champion for a 3rd time. I don't have anything new I can really do. What makes Red and Blue both so fun and sometimes so frustrating is that it is simple. Small move pools, not a lot of Pokemon, and that really forces you to master what little is in the game. It's why I actually like using Badge Boost Glitch, because it is a unique and interesting mechanic. And let's face it, we're already at such a disadvantage by using just a Zubat. It does make the run all the more exciting. With that said, unfortunately, it won't help us versus the champion. All that will help us? A combination of good luck and me being able to react to what ends up happening. Can we finally finish this run? Let's see. I use Double Edge. Please, no mirror move! Again! Every time! Whatever, we knock out Pidgeot, that's 1 down. Just like before, we'll outspeed and... No! Oh, I don't have words. It's a range. Thank goodness he used Reflect. Oh my god. This run, man. All right, 2 down. All right, time to use... No, I misclicked. No, I'm the worst. I'm the actual worst. So I have Horn Drill now. That's what I have to use. The only move that's worth getting. It's 30% and it's not Hypnosis. Oh my god. Whatever. We're just going to use Mega Drain and this doesn't get knocked out either. But actually, a full restore is quite nice because that means we're going to be at full HP. So at least that worked out in my favor. But, oh my god, I can't believe I ruined Mimic. I can't believe it. That was the strat, guys. That was the strat. All right, so Arcanine, I'm going to go for Double Edge. This time it goes for Ember and thankfully doesn't burn. Hopefully it'll be a 2-KO, and it is. Crit probably mattered, almost definitely, but I'll take it. 2 left. Now, I can't Mimic Hypnosis because I don't have Mimic, so I'm just going to go for Wing Attack. It does over a 3rd, and yeah, it puts me to sleep. I'm not surprised. I do wake up right away, and Barrage is the best possible move it could use. 2 hits is also pretty lucky. Please get another crit. No. Hypnosis missed. All right, guys. You know what? It all comes down to this. Blastoise is going to knock me out with Blizzard. Why not? We have the move. Why the heck not? Let's go! That's so dumb. Oh my god, I can't believe that worked. People always ask why I don't do that. It's a 30% chance. I can't believe that worked. I screwed it up and won. Oh my god. Alright, so yeah, unsurprisingly, Zubat's not going to do very well on this tier list. I considered putting it in the bottom tier with Abra and Pidgey, but the truth is it is much more similar to the Paris tier. I mean, it does have both the high level and the plus 9 hour time, but still, there's a huge difference between level 90 and level 82, between 9 and 10 hours, and 17 hours. And truth be told, Abra really shouldn't be in that tier anyway if it weren't for the fact it doesn't get an attacking move. But I digress, this video's lasted forever. Thank you for watching if you've made it all the way to here, let me know, holy moly. But that's why this video took so long. I'm going to see you guys in a little bit. Take care, everyone.